What am I most grateful for today? I think it's a nice reframe, right? There's a million reasons to be upset, and there's a million reasons to be overwhelmed, and there's a million reasons to lose sight of that gratitude.
I don't feel good about me because all I was doing was looking at all my regrets. Even though I was doing all these great things, I just kept focusing on what wasn't good enough. And so make sure you start with the gratitudes. You got to start with the gratitudes and the wins.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was episode number 1292. Where do you feel you need the most permission right now? Today, for episode number 1293, happy Saturday, 3 questions you should be asking yourself every day. So obviously, we systematize things, and that means we try to do them every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you aren't becoming more hyper-conscious, it's many times because you're not asking yourself the right things. So I figured we haven't done an episode like this in a long time. 3 questions, 3 ways, 3 steps, whatever it is. So I wanted to do it. That's my story. That's my opening. And I think the other thing too, and I think you do this because you're a very curious human being, you ask yourself a lot of questions. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say I try to ask myself questions constantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what thinking is. Asking and answering questions.
I would concur.
Yeah.
I would concur. All right, let's do it. 3 questions. This is going to be a different episode because I don't really have a good story of like where I came up with this. It was just, I don't know. I think asking questions has probably benefited me as much, if not more, than anything else I've done. And I remember things really started shifting for me. I remember after, excuse me, my voice is going, not ideal. I remember I've talked a lot about the breakup that really kind of propelled me into self-improvement. And I remember when my partner left me, asking myself a question. Is it always your partner's fault that your relationships don't succeed? What can I do for you?
We need to call out the elephant.
What is it?
The elephant in the room is that Kevin and I are in, excuse me, are in really, really giggly moods. Kevin is super tired.
We're in rough shape.
Yeah, we're in rough shape. Kev, I'm okay. I know that, I'm pretty spread thin. I'm honestly pretty peak week. Yeah, we got an event coming up.
Well, if you're listening, we're at the event right now. You're listening to this.
This is Saturday's episode?
This is Saturday's episode. So the event is happening.
Whilst you hear us.
Hear us, yeah.
So Kevin and I will be giggly. Fair warning.
Yeah.
I can't stop smiling for some reason. When Kevin gets tired, he gets funnier. So anyways, what are the 3 questions? Number 1 is...
You want the 3 questions right now? Number 1, what am I most grateful for today? Gratitude is the attitude. That's a pretty simple thing that you'll hear in many places, right? Like practice gratitudes every day. Tara and I do our gratitudes every night before bed. We've been jeffing a little bit over the last 3 or 4 days, so we have to put some into the piggy bank. That's number 1. What am I most grateful for today? I think it's a nice reframe, right? There's a million reasons to be upset, and there's a million reasons to be overwhelmed, and there's a million reasons to lose sight of that gratitude. Taryn's car had a problem, and we had to drop it off at the garage, and they ended up calling. They're like, yeah, it's going to be like $280 or something. And I was like, I'm super grateful. That's all it cost, because it could have been $2,800, and that would have been a whole different conversation. I'm very, very grateful for that. Something that simple can really make your day. Question 1. That is question 1. Question number 2. This is one of my favorite ones. What did I learn today? Imagine this. Imagine if every single day for 365 days, when you got to the end of the day, you wrote one thing down that you learned. You could make a book out of that. You could legitimately make a book out of it. 365 lessons. Because you have the opportunity to learn something new every day. This is the other interesting thing about having a practice like this. When you know you're going to ask yourself questions at the end of the day, you're going to be more intentional throughout your day. Because I ask Taryn that all the time. What did you learn today? And since I'm asking the question, I already kind of have mine. I already know what I'm going to say, kind of, because I've been thinking about it all day. So that's another thing, is it kind of primes your mind. Third question. If I could live today over again, what would I do differently? I like that one. I like that one a lot because, again, just as an example, today we had to go pick up Taryn's car and we were getting ready to go. And she's like, hey, can we go to Market Basket quick? And I was like, why? And she said, well, we can actually say this now because this has already happened, but we're putting together like gift baskets for the team that's coming to the event. And we needed to get a couple supplies. Now, there have been times in the past where and you know this about me, I'm at times
She's so sweet.
pretty unflexible. Yes, 100% her idea, not mine. I cannot take credit for that. You know me, at times I'm fairly unflexible. I'm fairly
sometimes
rigid. It's like, no, you said we're going to do it this way. I think we must do it that way. And there's no other way we could possibly do it.
Logistics.
It has to be
that way. Yeah.
So we're getting ready to go pick up her car. And she says, hey, can we swing into the grocery store? In the past, there have been times where I'm just super, no, I have a bunch of stuff to do. Like, I'm overwhelmed. I need to get home. We need to do this and I need to get home. And since I've asked myself in the past, what would I have done differently? I would have tried to be more present in moments like that. It took us 8 minutes to go to Market Basket. Is it really that big of a deal? No, it's not that big of a deal. That answer came from me asking that question because there have been days where I asked myself that and I didn't like the answer. If I could live today over again, what would I have done? I would have gone and, stopped for coffee with Taryn. Something that simple. So I think in the beginning, the Hyperconscious podcast, the questions you ask yourself are going to dictate the answers you get. But if you're not asking yourself good questions, you're probably not going to be able to give yourself good answers.
Emilia and I watched a comedy, and I wish I could remember the name of it. I can't. But essentially, it's like it's filmed in the UK, and it's essentially this young man who finds out from his father that he can go back in time. And so every time something bad happens that he wishes could go a different way, he goes back in time and relives it and does it the way that he wants to. And it's actually really funny. It's a really well done, funny movie. IMDb gave it like a really good rating. So it ended up being one of those movies that you didn't expect much of, and then you end up like dying laughing, or it ends up being like a really Emilia and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm so sorry that I can't remember the name of it. Maybe I'll look it up and I'll tell you in another episode. But the point is that every time something didn't go his way, quote unquote, he could go back in time. And I think that none of us can go back in time. Obviously, I know that. What we can do is make sure the future's brighter because of something we learned from. And so this is what I wrote down, which is in peak performance tracking, if you're a long-term listener to this show, you know what that means. It's simply you just track your habits. And if you're a new listener, peak performance tracking is just tracking daily habits. And at the end of the habit tracking, and some people have 3 habits, some people have 7 habits, some people have 12 habits, some people have, like one of my clients has 28 habits. The last part of peak performance tracking is MIW and MII. MIW is most important win. MII is most important improvement. And on our app where we do peak performance tracking, every single time you do an entry, I actually screenshotted it so that I could share this. It asks a simple question. For the most important win, MIW, what was your most important win from today? ? And there's like a little prompt and you type it in. And then today's most important improvement, MII, what do you intend to do better tomorrow? And so if you spend every single day looking at what you did well first so that you don't feel terrible, because I did the opposite once. I did something that was Kevin's idea, and I did it for like 3 months, and he called it reverse engineering regret. And he said, what if you just asked yourself every day what you regretted most?
Sounds terrible when you put it that way. At the time, we thought it was a great idea.
It was a good idea. And then I was driving to Newport. It was my girlfriend Emilia's, her, I think, 27th birthday. And I was just like, I don't feel good about me. Because all I was doing was looking at all my regrets. Even though I was doing all these great things, I just kept focusing on what wasn't good enough. And so make sure you start with the gratitudes. You got to start with the gratitudes and the wins. Seriously, I have my clients writing top 3 gratitudes and then top 3 goals. If all you do is write your goals, you're going to always be striving and never arriving. So be careful.
just meeting the people that there are to meet at Next Level Live made it worth it all on its own. Everybody there is incredibly supportive. Everybody there is not just strong, but also vulnerable and open, and also humble about how they're doing and where they're at in life, as well as where they've come from. So at any point, you don't feel intimidated or like you're lacking or like you're not as good as anybody else, because everybody has been at some point where you are, and everybody just wants to see each other thrive and do the best that they can.
So, most important win, most important improvement. What did I do well? What do I intend to do better? What did I do well? What did I intend to do better? This will be the last piece. I was on the phone with 2 clients. They have this business, and it's a dance business, so swing dance, up in Canada. They both do peak performance tracking, and essentially what I told them was this. I said, imagine a world where both of you have your goals, and both of you track your habits, and then every single day you both do a most important win and a most important improvement based on the data, and then every other week, not only are you getting better at executing against the system because you're getting better at doing the habits, because they're becoming more of a habit over time, but then on top of that, every time we get on the phone, we are improving the system. So not only are you improving by 1% every day, and then improving by 1% every other week on the phone with me, but then you're also improving the system. So you're improving the improvements. It's like a whole nother level of compound effect. It's really quite amazing. So not only are you getting better at improving the system, but you're also getting better at executing against the system. And it's a snowball that just really, really proliferates. And to Kevin's original point, we are into systems, obviously. And the reason why is these questions, they seem so small. They seem like not a big deal. I'm telling you, long term, over time, they are a very, very, very big deal. And they can be the gyroscope that keeps you on track towards a better life.
What's a gyroscope?
I think it's in a plane. I think it's like a thing that
I genuinely don't know.
I've
heard of it.
So I think a gyroscope, I could be wrong about this. I think I was watching Top Gun, new Top Gun Maverick movie, which was excellent, by the way. The listeners know how many movies I watch now.
I know.
And I think a gyroscope, I could be wrong. So for those of you who probably know this better than I do, please don't make fun of me. I think a gyroscope is in your phone. I think it shows like the angle that it's at.
Okay.
So you know how like when you switch your phone from vertical to horizontal, it knows to switch the photograph to landscape. I think that's a gyroscope.
Sounds
I
good.
could be wrong. Maybe it's an oscillator or something like that.
If you said it with certainty, I wouldn't question it.
Yeah, but I don't do that because
I know.
I'm not certain.
I'm just saying. Another question I like. Based on today, what do I feel I need more of tomorrow? I like that question. Now, that can be a dangerous question because if you're making decisions just based on emotion, maybe it's not what's best, but that's kind of been my thought process over the last couple days. Again, Alan and I worked late last night, and it was like, I just need R&R. I need to like sit in the dark I'll put the TV on. I watched something dumb. It was like everything wrong with old school. There's this YouTube channel that I think it's called Cinema Sins. Everything wrong with old school. And I watched it. I was like, wow, I forgot how graphic that movie was. It was just interesting to watch. So I just needed something to turn my brain off. But I already have that moment of you and I are working until 10 tonight, and I'm already I need to be done and in the dark and on the couch for like an hour before I go to bed. I need downtime. I know that. So I think that's another great question is like, based on today, based on this week, based on right now, what do I feel I need more of? And then how do I plan that in? I think that's another important thing.
Another great question.
No, I think based on what I need.
Remember my monologue? I listened to it. I review the show every morning. Speaking of systems, I try to do mobility and listen to the show. And instead today I was in the shower listening to the show, and I said something along the lines. I had this great monologue, and at the very end I said, built it or something like that. We built it based on that or something. So we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, it's we're here. Look, 7 episodes a week forever. Can I promise all of them are going to be shining examples of eloquent speech? No, I cannot. Can I promise we'll give it our all? Absolutely. And I hope you respect that.
So quick last before we go. Kev.
Sure.
The 3 questions are, number 1.
Number 1. What am I most grateful for today?
Number 2.
What did I learn today?
Number 3.
If I could do today over again, what would I do differently?
Mm-hmm. So it starts with gratitude, then it's learning, and then it's what are you going to implement differently? Yeah. Very, very powerful if you can do it consistently. Whatever your habit is, journaling habit, gratitude habit, you name it, just make sure it's simple enough to where you can do it consistently, but it has to be big enough to where your brain thinks it's worth it. That's the sweet spot right there. Because if it's just maybe one question, it'll be, no big deal. I'm not just will not even do it. But if it's 10 questions, you're not going to sustain it. So you got to find the sweet spot. I've found 3 questions or 2 questions in particular to be the sweet spot. Emilia and I used to do gratitudes every night, and we still do. But we used to do like 7, 8, 9, 10 gratitudes a night. And eventually we stopped doing it for 6 months, and then we realized the downside of not being as grateful. And then we're like, you know what? Let's bring the system back. And we haven't missed in probably a year plus now. But it's only 3. We're only allowed to do 3 because otherwise we'll fall off. So just keep it simple, whatever it is.
Strong work. Next Level Nation, if you have not yet, please subscribe on the platform that you are listening from. I'm actually going to start tracking this number. I should have started tracking this number a long time ago. I haven't, but I'm going to start. So again, it helps us find more people like you. Right now, I think we're on, we're on the top charts in a couple countries. But when you subscribe, that helps us get on the top chart in the country that you live in. We can help more people win and grow the NLU family. So please do that if you would be so kind.
Also, we have a private Facebook group called Next Level Nation. We actually had a listener post in there today about a job that was not very aligned, and she took a leap of faith, and now she's in a job that's much more aligned. And the team, the community gets so excited when we have new people in there. So if you're not yet in Next Level Nation, that is the place to be. There's always compelling questions in there. It's a safe, supportive community where the only thing that's not allowed is being disrespectful to other people. So as long as you're supportive and respectful, it's just a wonderful place to be. And it's the one place where you get to own your weird and just be yourself and have goals and dreams, and no one's going to make fun of you. No one's going to pick on you. No one's going to take wind out of your sails or make fun of you. And that's what we've always wanted, and it really is a magnificent place. So the link to that will be in the show notes, and we hope to see you over there.
Next Level Nation tomorrow for episode number 1294. We're almost there, almost at 1300. Is your comfort zone holding you back? I had a very interesting experience at physical therapy the other day that gave me the inspiration for this episode. So I'm very excited to do that one. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Good night and good luck, Next Level Nation.